First, I want to thank you, Dominic, and thank the OPA for this opportunity to talk about my experience with the construction of a wind farm. And that's what I hope to bring to the table here. We're all talking about opportunities that are promises for creation with offshore wind. And I'm so thrilled to be able to talk about those promises for opportunities and opportunities delivered with the construction of the South Fork Wind Farm, which was my experience with the wind farm. It's the first wind farm in New York, and we just powered up on March 14th. We have all 12 turbines turning. And let me just share my screen, if I may, and make sure I can work this. This is the South Fork Wind Farm. It is 35 miles offshore of Montauk. It is now producing 130 megawatts of clean, renewable energy, which is enough to power 70,000 homes. As far as a health benefit, I'm going to say a statistic first, but this is the truth. The project will eliminate up to 6 million tons of carbon emissions over the life of the project. And for perspective, that is the ability, it will eliminate the equivalent of taking 60,000 gas-powered cars off the road for the next 20 years. So the benefits to our planet to combat the impacts of the climate crisis are critical for us to further our planet and our species. And for East Hampton, a small coastal town at the end of Long Island, who we are already experiencing the impacts of the climate crisis. We're like a little bit of the canary in the coal mine. We've seen devastating, just recently, the last 3 storms in December and January caused a tremendous storm surge, inundation. Businesses and homes were flooded, and these were just unnamed storms with a little bit of anomaly on storm surges. We faced devastation in our forests from the southern pine beetle. We've lost thousands of trees. And our fisheries, which are critical to our local economy, our year-round folks who live here, have disappeared. Specifically, the Peconic Bay Scallop fishery, which really sustained particularly local families here. So we see that loss of the fisheries as the fish migrate, and as our local fisheries and shellfish are impacted by acidification and the temperature. The high temperatures in our area. South Fork Wind, the completion, what we saw in terms of job creation, and this is an opportunity that was created and promised and delivered upon, was that hundreds of U.S. workers and 3 Northeast ports supported South Fork Wind's construction, helping to stand up the foundations and create new domestic supply chains, creating local union jobs across the Northeast and even beyond. South Fork Wind's turbines were staged and assembled by local union workers in Connecticut. The foundations were completed in Rhode Island, and the crew changes, helicopters, are based out of Long Island. The first U.S. offshore wind substation was built by more than 350 U.S. workers across 3 states, with New York union workers supplying its installation offshore. Now, where it comes into my town was we are the location for the sea to shore connection for the offshore energy export cable. We had 4 miles of the cable construction through our town. It took several years to develop the permit. 2 years to develop the permit at the Department of Public Works, New York State, which laid down all of the conditions for the construction, thousands of conditions, hundreds of compliance targets for this construction project. I got first involved with the project as a member of the public, a founding member of a group called Win with Win, and that group was created to dispel tremendous misinformation. And, you know, I think that's a very polite way of saying it, actually, misinformation. It was false, lies that were being spread about what would happen in the project, and what the conditions would be, and the destruction to the neighborhood and the community caused by the construction project. So that was my first association with the project, and subsequently I became elected, and I am the liaison to the project. So these two slides show what the actual size of a offshore wind export cable trench is. We saw pictures that were created by this incredibly well-funded group, had over $1 million in their coffers to fight this. We were showing pictures of this trench taking over houses and front lawns, and blocking businesses from being able to operate. In reality, this was the size of the trench. You can see the black piping there. That's the conduit that the cable went into. And on the right side, the photo on the right side, that is the largest point of construction on our public roads. That's Beach Lane in Wainscott. Offshore, you see the lift vessel, the skipjack, that was helped bring the cable onshore into what you see in that green area. That's the transition joint bay where the cable actually comes ashore. And this was what it looked like during the construction project. You can see there was never an interruption of road services or lanes being closed for any length of time across the 4.1 miles of construction. And there was also beach access, as you can see, that went around the largest piece of construction that was guaranteed through the whole build. And after they were finished and completed, after 15 months of work, in 2023, with the onshore portion, this is what we're left with. This is the after photo, and what we have is basically lovely new pavement and a number of manholes. That's it. That's all that you see. The cable comes ashore 80 feet under the beach in Wainscott. It was done with directional drilling that did not interrupt the beach whatsoever. So my experience, and I'm really excited to say this as the liaison to the project, was that I can report that the project teams adhered to and were 100% compliant with the more than 200 New York State permit conditions, as well as the conditions of the town's easement agreement. The subcontractors and compliance and outreach teams were immediately responsive to any concerns from both the town and the community, and I can attest that this is a job well done. As far as locally, more than 100 union jobs were created for Long Island skilled trade workers. I know someone asked before what was the makeup of those jobs. So we had everything from heavy equipment operators, electrician, line workers, local delivery drivers. New York companies provided approximately 90% of the total goods and services that were delivered to the project, and also the secondary economy of our local economy that is pretty much shut down in the wintertime, and we struggle through the winter in the local year-round economy to get to the summertime, where we have our huge tourism industry that also supports us. We had year-round restaurants that stayed open, takeout places to feed folks, and local inns that were able to house folks, so that our economy locally also got a boost from this work. And I am just thrilled to be here and to be able to testify as to what actually happened, and that all of the opportunities and that folks are talking about on this webinar came to fruition here in the town of East Hampton with this bill. So thank you very much for your time.